Hey guys, Slynk here with another tutorial, and in this tutorial I want to talk about some of the rules of thumb that I live by when I'm mixing down and mastering a track. And yeah, this is one of the most challenging tutorials I've ever done because it's such a subjective thing. You know, everyone makes different creative decisions when they're writing their songs in different genres, and those different decisions create different mixdown problems that are specific to your song. So you really need to be armed with a large array of techniques on how to identify those problems and also how to fix them. But what's really important for you to understand is what a mixdown is and what a master is. You know, what are you actually aiming for? What does a good mixdown look and sound like? And what does a good master sound like? Well, I'll give you my opinion and try to express my thought process. So the definition of a mixdown is all the small things that you do during the writing process to balance the different elements of your song. You know, you might have to EQ something a little bit. You might want to sidechain the bass line to the kick and snare so that the kick and snare punch. You might want to add a little stereo width to your vocals. You might just want to turn something down because it's too overbearing, or turn something up because you can't really hear it. You know, the idea is to just get a nice balance of all your elements. But you also need to keep in mind the overall volume of everything playing together, and that's the tricky part. That's the fine art of balancing your mixdown, you know. So you should really be aiming for to get your song to a point where you can just play it from start to finish and have your master level maintain a relatively stable level. You know, just pick a number. It can be anything you like, whatever's convenient for you. Personally, I choose a float point of 0 dB, and then just aim for that. Try and get your song to not have any peaks over 0 dB, but if you really can't without, you know, introducing an insane amount of compression, you know, +2, +3 dB is totally manageable, and anything below, you know, you can always bring that up a little bit. So if you've got a nice balanced sound and a nice stable level, you're going to have a really easy time when it comes to mastering, you know, because all mastering really is just taming that beast that you couldn't tame with the mixdown process and just bringing it all back to exactly where you need it, right on that 0 mark. And it's also your chance to just tweak the EQ a little bit, give it a little bit of tone. Maybe when you're writing the song, you didn't realize until later that the whole song could use a bit more high end, you know, or a little less sub or something like that. Slap an EQ on the master and just get it done. But yeah, what we're really trying to do is fix those little peaks in the mixdown that we couldn't fix with mixing down itself. And we do that by using multiband dynamics processing and limiting. You know, driving a highly unpredictable, highly dynamic signal into a limiter on your master is really what we're trying to avoid. You know, if you've got your limiter working so hard it's pulling down 9 dB peaks and pulling things up, you're just going to get some distortion. It's just going to sound bad. Everything's going to lose its punch. You're going to have a bad time. So the less of a deflection that you have from your float point, then the better of a result you're going to have out of your master. So anyway, this is a track I'm working on right now, and it's getting pretty close to finished, and we'll be using this as an example for right now. But yeah, I do a lot of mixdown stuff as I'm actually writing, so the song's already sounding pretty decent. The level's fairly stable, but there's still a lot of issues that need to be addressed. And it's kind of a mess too. Like, look at this, you know, things need to be named, and you flip over to this view and it's just so overwhelming. Like, how am I supposed to balance all these elements? There's so many different things to consider at one time. So what I like to do is just break the track down into chunks, maybe 4 or 5 different chunks. You know, drums, instruments, bass line, effects kind of deal, maybe vocals as well, and work towards balancing the different elements in each chunk referencing the other sounds in that same chunk. And once I've got all the different chunks balanced individually, we can start bringing all the chunks in together and go for that final mix down. And this makes things a lot more manageable. So here we go. I've got my chunks created and figured out. And it was also a little bit of a process deciding what goes in which chunk. You know, you can have your own criteria, but I tend to just group things together that have the same theme or similar sounds. You know, obviously drums all go together. Instruments, I've got my guitars, horns, flute, that sort of thing, chords, and then the bass line, etc. But you know, your song might be a little bit more abstract with what you could consider an instrument and what you would consider a bass line. So you can also split your chunks up into things that sort of sit in a certain range on the frequency spectrum. So for example, I already have one there. So for example, you know, if you want to group all your sub content into one group, then that's going to be great because you'll be able to manage, you know, 100 hertz and below in one chunk, and you know, so on and so on. But for me, I like to just group things into different themes. So let's get to just balancing things, each chunk let's get to balancing each chunk on their own here. So we'll solo the drums. So, you know, it's peaking a little bit. It's going a little bit over 0. So let's just turn it down a little. What I'm worried about is the drum rolls and stuff combining with the drums. So let's take a look at, you know, these drum rolls that hit here. Yeah, look at that. A huge 6 dB peak there. So we need to fix that definitely. And it looks like I don't have any sidechain hooked up on this rolls channel here. So what we want to do is duck the volume of this channel when the kick and snare plays. So we'll just take our sidechain rack, paste it here. However you like to do sidechain. This isn't a sidechain tutorial. That helped a lot, but it also made it sound a little bit weird. Let's try bringing these release times down a little. We'll back off the threshold a little. That sounded a lot better. Maybe we just need to compress it slightly or limit it a little bit. Yeah, so it looks like it's the percussion and the drum roll combining there that's causing the peak. So we could sidechain the percussion from the roll because I feel like the drum roll has priority in that particular point in time. So let's give that a go. Sidechain, let's choose, you know, we should maybe name this. I didn't do the best job at organizing here. Call that drum rolls. And we'll just bring the threshold down. Let's turn the release to like 25 or so. It's definitely when that kick hits at the same time as the beginning of this drum roll. Maybe I'll just try fade it there. Oh, I didn't mean to solo that. Let me solo the drums. It's really heavy on the left channel there. I could try EQ some of those frequencies out. That's not bad. Or I could try forcing this into mono. That's actually done the trick there. We could even do some, where am I going here? Do a little bit of stereo width so that it's even. Here, let's not use that actually. I'll use my special width rack here. And you know, we can just turn it down as well. That's pretty good. You know, we had a 5 dB peak there a minute ago, and now it's 0.2. Let's keep an eye on the next roll here. Yeah, that one's pretty bad. So these channels are going into this group here. Yeah, what we should actually do is move this sidechainer onto the group after the glue compressor. I think it's that kick that hits right there when I paused it. This one. So I can split this and maybe maybe we can take some of the lows out. That's not bad. That's not bad. We could try just turning it down a little bit. There we go. I think that's pretty good. I don't think it sounds too different to what it did sound a minute ago. That roll there is good. I think we're pretty good. Let's just check over here maybe. I think the drums group is looking pretty balanced. We'll move over to the instrument group here. So yeah, it looks like whenever the chords are hitting, it's combining with the guitar and the guitar solo, and it's pushing the level over 0 there. And keep in mind, I already have some sidechains set up here, I believe. Yeah, I've got some sidechain on these guitar chords, some sidechain on the flute. I have no sidechain on the chords. Oh, yes I do. On the white noise I do. Yes, I do actually have some sidechain there. Maybe I should move this over. So sidechaining is the last thing that happens. Yeah, just turn those things down a little bit. I think that's pretty good. Let's try a different section here. That's looking great. That's fine. I feel like those chords are a bit quiet. Yeah, 0.8 dB. I can live with that. Let's just turn it down slightly and we'll be fine. And the bass line is another whole rabbit hole of stuff going on. Yeah, so hopefully you kind of get the idea. Once we go through and balance each different section, then we can just play them all together and keep an eye on the levels. Yeah, there's a little peak there. By the way, I also have a utility on here just turning the entire master down by 4 dB. Because we're aiming for that 0 point, I noticed that like our level was plus 4 dB, but sitting pretty consistently there. So I just turn it down. You know, it's no big deal. We don't have to turn everything down over here. We can just turn it down there, as long as it's stable, you know what I mean? So we did have a little peak somewhere around here. Yeah, it didn't happen that time. There it is. So it sounds like the guitar is clashing with the bass line, from what I can gather there. I could try to disable that note. Yeah, that worked pretty good. Just taking one thing out. It's such a small detail, it doesn't really affect the overall feel of the song. I can't even remember where that sound was, so I think that's the plan. We can just take that out. And you know, just you got to get creative with figuring out ways to remove these big large peaks. To just, you know, sometimes it's a balancing act. You just got to be a little bit creative and be willing to delete something or change the way your song works. And yeah, just try everything. EQ each sound into its own kind of section of the spectrum, you know, or you can use sidechain between different instruments. Sidechain is not only for your kick drum and your snare drum, you know, you can sidechain anything to anything else, and it can really help. Just a little bit of volume automation sometimes works and does the trick. So, you know, once we get a nice stable level, we'll just assume that the whole track is sounding good at this point. We can just turn on some dynamic processing. And these are the kind of settings I have going right now. It's actually just a preset that I've tweaked a little bit. A lot of this stuff is a little bit over my head, to be quite honest. But what you're trying to do is just tame the peaks that are local to certain frequency bands even more before you bring in the overall limiter, you know. So let's just turn on these boys here and we'll see how it sounds. Oh. Okay, I'm boosting this way too much. Yeah, so that's kind of my angle. I usually try to aim for around 7 or 8 dB on the RMS level here, and that usually holds up pretty nicely against other tracks. And you know, it's loud and it's fat and everything like that. This isotope ozone dynamic processing will definitely increase the volume of your overall track here. Unless you're not careful, you know. I'm actually boosting these individual bands by quite a bit, but I have enough compression and there's a built-in limiter there as well, so it's not going too loud. It's really subtle compression, but it's definitely doing the trick there. That big crash there at the change up is definitely one I would need to fix. So there you go. Hopefully you can take the general concepts and ideas out of this video and apply it to your own song. I know this is kind of a bit of a wishy-washy answer, but you know, something that works for my song will definitely not work for your song. It depends. But you know, just some general tips. I hope it works out for you, and thanks for watching.